We're live.
We're
Thank you,
live.
everyone. Welcome. I am here with one of my absolute heroes. This is Aley. She has a wonderful channel called Heart and Soul Connected. And she was the first person who ever invited me to be on YouTube. And I walked away from that conversation saying emphatically, why would anyone want to be on YouTube?
I don't know.
But
Why would they?
well, one of the reasons why Ali has recruited so many people to come on YouTube is because she is having a blast and she is so much fun to talk to. And for our Summer of Relaxation, I knew that there was one person I wanted to talk to about movies and about books. And we're going to talk about books today with Ali. Please, Ali, let
Okay.
our viewers know what
Okay.
your background is.
Sure, of course. So, yes, my channel's Heart and Soul Connected, and I've been on YouTube since November of 2020, right after the election, if you get my drift. And I do a lot of interviewing and bringing new people on and letting people know about them. But for the past 25 years, I've been teaching at the community college and regular college level, English composition, literature, uh, and lots of other courses as needed because I'm a contingent faculty, but I work for 4 colleges. So I have a lot of classes that I teach. I also teach in the film arena, and it's one of my big loves as well. So I went back and got a second master's just so I could have film in my title. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Anyway, yeah, I live in the Pacific Northwest. I absolutely love it here. And Daphne and I met in Sedona, of all beautiful places to meet somebody beautiful. So thank you, Daphne. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah.
Thank you. Well,
Uh-huh.
I invited Ali to come on and talk to us about reading for relaxation. And that might not be the first thing you think of when you want to relax. But as a person with a degree in English who loves me, a librarian, a professor, a teacher, yes, yes,
Oh,
let's talk about books.
let's talk
So,
about it. Yeah.
my first question, let me grab my notes here.
Yep.
Okay, so this series is called Three Questions On, and I came up with three questions, but please let's not let the conversation be boundaried by these
Okay.
questions.
All right.
Okay, so I guess let's answer the most obvious question. How can we make reading relaxing and fun this summer?
So I love reading physical books. There are people that read Kindle. There are people that listen to audiobooks. There are people that um, enjoy those venues, and they are a good venue to have for different things. If you're traveling, a Kindle is perfect to take. You can take thousands of books with you wherever you go. If you're not really a person that can either stay awake, or if you're out walking, I listened to 20 books the summer of 2020 because there was nothing else to do. I love to walk, and I enjoyed them so much. I was out where it was beautiful, and I was listening to books. And so audiobooks are not cheating. They're another way. Put your headphones on and go into another time or another place and enjoy it. So those things can make reading fun for people who do not want to physically hold a book in their hands. For those of us who love books, the smell of them, the touch of them, the feeling of them. The best part I love about a book is a physical book is that you can look at it and you can see how far you've come. Whereas you can look at your Kindle, and it will say you're at location blah blah blah, but you can't see all the progress that you've made. So if you have that book stack, and we all have more than one, and you have to get through them, but you know that you found a whole bunch new ones when you went by that bookstore last week. Then go through them and pick a book that you think you'd like to start reading, but pick a backup. And I'll tell you why. I have a list on Goodreads, and I love it, but I have a place that is too crummy to finish, and I'll put those there. In other words, if you don't have me by at least the first chapter, maybe I'll give you a couple more chapters. But if you haven't got me maybe by 60 or 70 pages, I'm probably not going to want to finish it. And I've always been told I had to. but you don't have to. You'd
Oh,
maybe like to because you bought the book.
right.
Okay, maybe somebody else would love it more than you would. So that's
Yeah.
just my idea. So to make it fun, you really should pick something you like. And then I have some ideas, but I'm going to wait for Daphne, um, of different areas. Like if you like different genres, what might be something you could look at that you may not have heard of or may not know about? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Continue.
Thank you, Allie. Hi, Jane.
Uh-huh.
Jane the Seeker Tarot. Fantastic
Uh-huh.
channel.
Yes, it is.
Well, Allie, you've covered a lot of territory in that answer. And I want to go back to what you said about loving physical books and loving
Okay.
to read
Sure.
physical books. I feel the same way, probably because that's what I grew up with. I feel like the
Hmm.
library and librarians in 20 different cities raised me as a child. And
Yeah.
but there's a couple things about books, physical books, that people may not think about. And one is that it's more relaxing to the nervous system to interact with a physical book rather than an
Love
electronic
that.
device.
Okay.
So just from an energy medicine standpoint, from a relaxation standpoint, physical books can be better. But I have a rule. A lot of people who love books are snobs about it and they want to buy first edition hardcovers.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
I can't. I have to get a paperback so it doesn't break my nose when I fall asleep.
There's a
Right?
good, especially if it's Gone with the Wind, right?
Yes, no way, no way.
Yeah, I
I
know.
had,
I get it.
certain books you have to be upright. You have to have
You do. Yeah,
I have a beautiful book stand so my arms don't get tired, and you
yeah.
have to care for your neck. You have to make sure that you're not fatiguing your body while you're
Very
trying to
true.
soothe it and soothe your mind. And I loved what you said about walking with audiobooks. If you have a safe and beautiful place to walk, there's nothing
Mhm.
better. It's
Yeah,
really wonderful.
it
And
really is.
yeah, so I love that tip. I would love you and I are both writers, and I would love to be able to walk and dictate a book, you
Oh,
know?
there you
Would that
go.
be
Yeah.
fantastic? But I
Yes, it
haven't
would.
gotten there yet.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
see. We'll see. Oh, Jane the Seeker says, I love a physical book. Can't do Kindle, read in the middle of the night. Yes, yes, yes,
I get
yes.
you, Jane. Yeah, unless
Yeah,
you're on a plane, and you don't want to carry every big physical book you own because some people like to read more than one book at a time. But I agree with you. But the thing is, talking about relaxing, sometimes we want to read and we read in bed and guess what happens? Just like
yeah,
Daphne said,
yeah.
falls on your nose. Yeah.
I have a stack of paperbacks that are like cures for insomnia, right? So those are the ones I want to read the book. I need to get through it, but
I
I might
know.
fall asleep, and that's okay.
Oh, maybe you
And
can use one of those too crummy to finish on my.
yes, well, I think that's one of the most freeing things you hear people say. And
Mhm.
I'm like you. For years, I refused to set aside a book, even though it was bad, because I would tell myself, I'm learning what this writer did wrong, right?
True. That's very true.
Which
Yeah.
which
Mhm.
is great, but the older you get, the less time you have to read all the good books. So yes, toss them.
Yes, that's right. You can always sell them to, half price books or whatever, make some money and buy one you want to read. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah, I love that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then let's move on to the genres that you were recommending. You said you
Okay.
had some ideas for different types of books for people to read.
I do. First of all, of course, fiction is always great. And um, all new books, all new writers that are coming out are really, really good. There's a lot of them that are really, really good. I have to say that. I, in particular, just like literature more. And I, in particular, also like series books and historical fiction. So, of course, I'm gonna say, if you haven't read the Outlander series by Gabaldon, you need to read that. There's 9 books that will keep you busy all summer, but they're very thick. They are very thick. And the other one I really like is the Ken Follett series, Century
Oh,
Trilogy. I like history and I like the turn of the 20th century times. So that has
mm,
a lot to do with a family and how they lived during the times and things. It's not true though. It's just a fiction book.
mm.
Um, if you're not into that and you're into sci-fi, or you've got to read Blake Crouch's book Dark Matter, which is actually just coming out as a series on Apple TV. Blake Crouch is fabulous. He's written lots and lots of books. He's also written another one called Upgrade that I've read. Every time I find out he's writing a book, the Dark Matter one is about a tube that takes him to multiple timelines and multiple dimensions. It's just if you're interested in that kind of thing, it's a great book.
I am. I put it in the chat so that I can
Oh,
remember.
good.
Dark
Okay.
Matter and Upgrade by Blake Crouch. Excellent recommendation.
And Jane, I've started a book a number of years ago. I need to go back to. Maybe we just need a support team together
Yes.
to do it. Yes, that might work.
Yes. Jane, I know a little bit about your history and I want to read anything you write.
Oh,
Definitely.
No. Me too, Jane. Me too.
Yes.
Yes.
Jane's asked
I
how big
have.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I've been really disappointed in the movies about that. Well, we're going to talk about movies and books later, right?
Another time. Yeah. So some of the books that I've read recently within the past 4 or 5 years that I recommend are, if you haven't read Donna Tartt, she did The Goldfinch, which came into a movie. But her other one, which I absolutely love, is called The Secret History. She only writes a book once every 10 years. And so we're still waiting for this next one to come out. But that one's about a college campus and some kids that revolved around the college campus. I think it was the 70s. So, yes, it's so good.
Did I spell her name right?
It's 2 T's at the end. Yeah. But I think you would find it if you put it there. The other writer that I really love is out of Canada. Her name is Emily St. John Mandel. And she wrote Station 11, which has been turned into a series. Did you see Station 11? Yeah.
I read the book.
Okay. And The Glass Hotel. Have you read The Glass Hotel? It's very good. Yeah, very good. Let's see. I mean, I have a whole list. If you're wanting something really light, which we like in the summer, read The Gift of the Sea by Anne Morrow Lindbergh. That's Charles Lindbergh's wife. It's very nice. It's a womanly sort of enjoyable book.
That's been out a while. Right?
These have been out a while. Yeah, they have. If you like something just for fun and a quick read, I recommend anything Ann Tyler writes. She's a lot of fun.
Didn't she write The Accidental Tourist?
She did. Yes, she did. Yep. She wrote Ladder of Years. I read that one. And I also read, I think it was French Braid. But anyway, she comes out quite often with these. And they're just relaxing books. I've listened to a couple of those when I was walking. As far as, I'm only going to recommend a couple more because I don't want to overpower everybody. But if you're wanting to learn more, if you're at a second level spiritual person, then check anything out. Start with Power versus Force by David Hawkins. Dr. David Hawkins. Yeah, Dr. David Hawkins.
Power versus Force?
Yeah. He discusses the calibrations in us. He calibrates everything and uses muscle testing, which is right up your alley. So he's very, very good. The Tao Te Ching, very easy, very quick, but saturate it like one a day. Don't read the whole book. Read one a day. And Sacred Contracts is really a good book by Carolyn Mace. That's an older book, but it's about archetypes. And you can learn a little bit more about that.
I'm reading her, that big book she wrote, The Anatomy of the Spirit, right now.
She's wonderful. I've seen her in person and she's really dynamic and wonderful.
Oh. Yeah. I'm going to put a formal apology in here for misspellings in case any of those authors wonder why.
I know. You're doing great. You're doing great. Wayne Dyer, of course, is always good to read. Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. We all need to remember to watch our thoughts. And I'm only going to suggest for nonfiction. I know most people don't want to read about what happened during a certain administration. There's lots and lots of books out there about it, but a very concise book that absolutely riveted me that I just finished was Blowback by Miles Taylor, who worked in the Trump administration. Again, that may not be summer reading for you, and that's okay. You don't have to read it.
Right.
Stay light. Yeah, stay light.
Well, so for some people, politics is their thing, right?
It
And
is. It is. That's
so
true.
we'll add that recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's good to know because you're right. That has like become a publishing industry unto itself,
Unto
right?
itself. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
So it's good to
Mhm.
know that have a good recommendation for a book in that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I love that. Now, you may or may not be surprised to know that I am a huge fan of young adult fiction.
Good. Good.
And I
Yes.
love reading those books because first of all, I feel like the authors are vetted better than other
Yes, they have to
self-publishing
be.
books in
Yes,
particular.
you're right.
And
Mhm.
I also am just so in awe of the bravery of not only the authors, but the main characters, the topics
Mhm.
they take on. There
Mhm.
is nothing off the table when it comes to young adult fiction these days.
Yep.
It's not sanitized, and it really gives you a feeling for what somebody in a different generation might be going through right now, because
That's very
I'm
true. Yeah.
generations away from being
Right,
that
we
age.
are. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I try
but
to
I
stay,
love those.
aligned with it with my students, but, there's only a certain amount of alignment I can do. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
get it totally. Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So,
who do you like? Suzanne Conroy, her
ah,
books?
yes,
Yeah.
well, I'm reading a series right now by Rebecca Ross, I think, called
Okay.
it's about two young journalists who go to war, but it's a
Ooh,
fictional fantasy world, and
okay.
so it's big themes,
Yes.
war, being caught up in the history of your time, right?
Uh-huh.
These are
Yeah.
young people who would never have chosen to do this, and I think it really would resonate
Mhm.
with people who are, they're in high school and there's a pandemic and their high school closes down for a year, right?
Right,
So
right.
all
Yeah,
of us get caught up in the world of our times.
we
And
do.
do you
Mhm.
happen to know how many times, I was thinking about this the other day, just to comfort myself, how many times Shakespeare's plays got closed down because of plague or fever? I mean,
I
that
don't know
theater
how
was
many, but
always
I know
being
there
shut
must
down.
have been a lot. And for
And yet
other
they get
reasons
closer.
too, salacious, things like that too. Yes, some of
Right.
them. Mhm. Yeah,
Yes, and that just makes me love him more.
I that's
Okay,
cool.
so we have one last gem for the audience. I always ask my guests if they have something they want the audience to take away from the conversation or any other words of wisdom that you might like to share.
Oh, sure. Um, First of all, I also want to recommend the Atlantic magazine online. They have some great articles. So if you're a short article reader, they come out every week. You can get them online if you want. You can always get the magazine, but magazines are kind of going away, I've
Yeah.
noticed. So anyway, they're very good. I like them very much. So my gem is actually from two writers. And the first one is from Donna Tartt. And so she says, it's better to know one book intimately than 100 specifically. And while I really don't recommend we only read one book in our life, because if you never learn anything more, if you never expand your horizons by reading, then you remain in status. Your brain remains in status. You're at the age you were the last time you learned something. So that's why I like to follow nonfiction books just as much as I do fiction, but I can learn from both of them very well. I can learn the trials and tribulations. And finally, George R. R. Martin, the series writer. He says a reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads only one. And I agree with him.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love
Yeah.
that. And you know what, you're bringing me back to relaxation, right? And
Yes.
relaxation is the partner to growth and stretch, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you are not growing, you can't relax because you're calcifying. And I think that's true of our minds, our bodies, our spirits. And
Uh-huh.
Jane just wrote, I read The Stand several times.
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Yes,
I
yes,
have a
yes.
book like that that I have read too many times, and I don't even know why. It's called Blood Meridian.
Oh, who's
Yes,
that
and
by?
it's by Cormac McCarthy, who wrote All the Pretty
Oh, oh,
Horses.
I love him. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
All right.
that book, Blood Meridian,
Okay.
this is not light summer reading. This is what you read in October getting ready for Halloween.
I totally get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But McCarthy is a fabulous writer. I mean,
Oh,
there's so many fabulous. We could talk for hours and hours. There's just so many that it's hard to pick any
yeah,
one. But I was never a Stephen King fan until I read 11/22/63, and wow! And I read, of course, his book on writing. But there's
mhm,
another one that I thought I was reading, The Stand, but it was about the Wheel of Fortune more than anything, and I just can't think of the name of the book. But it was about a guy that goes and every time he goes to spin the wheel, he wins, he wins, he wins. It's just kind of an interesting. Everything he writes, though, is fascinating. So,
yes.
yeah,
Well, I think that's the best thing about reading is you get to know somebody else's brain. And if you
right,
are also,
yeah,
if beyond being a reader, you're also a writer, then you are looking at how they are em embodying their thoughts, right? You take your
right.
thoughts and you put them out into the world, just like you and me and Jane are going to do with our books.
There you go. We need that support system, really. We do anyway. We most of us. I know you get out more often than I do, but and Jane too. We all stay home mostly, and
Yeah.
we work from home. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we need to expand our horizons and have more interactive discussions
Yes.
about things like that. So that's excellent. Yeah.
Well, what a
Mhm.
great conversation. I could talk to you for days. And
Oh, you're a sweetheart.
I have I try to keep these 3 questions on under about 20-25 minutes because I know we have a busy, seasoned audience. They don't need a
Absolutely.
lot of fluff. They want the good stuff,
Go
and
to the
you have
meat of
got
the
it
deal.
today.
That's right. Okay. Thank you very
Well,
much, Daphne. Yeah.
thank you so much, and we will be talking about movies soon. So,
There you
we'll
go.
see you
All
guys
right.
then.
Bye, everybody. Have a
Bye-bye.
beautiful day.
Bye-bye.